Chap tales. Don't you wanna hear some chap tales? Chappy, 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 chappy tales. Chappy, 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 chappy tales. What is happening? Hi, Ring Gifty. Ah, boo, 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 boo. Hey, how you doing, people? Okay, so we are doing another chap tale today. Okay, so this chap tale is about a holiday that I took with three of my pals, my nephew, Adam Asbo, and Tabibi Tazubi Dooby Doo. Anyway, we went to Mexico, Cancun. We was having it large. Anyway, yeah, we went out on this holiday to Mexico, and we started looking at excursions and stuff you could do. And there was just like, I'd been to Mexico previously a couple of times before, so I had a rough idea of these stuff you could do out there. It was, do you know what I mean? It's all great experience. So we sat down with the rep and that, and we went through all of these excursions, and me and my nephew decided that we wanted to do quite a lot of these excursions. So we was booking ourselves right out. I think we went out there for 2 weeks. We did 3 excursions a week, and I think Asbo and Tyeb did maybe 2 a week. Yeah, so it was like one up on them, whatever. Anyway, on this particular day, we decided that we was going to go on this trip to a galleon, like a pirate ship or whatever, and just you go out on this ship and they're bloody sword fighting each other and you're eating lobster, and it's just a right laugh. Anyway, me and my nephew went, Adam and Tabi didn't go. So we went out on this trip. Anyway, done a trip, brilliant. Got back to the hotel. We're staying in the Rio Cancun, I think. And basically bumped into Tyab and Adam they was going out the front of the hotel, and we was coming in. We was like, oh, what's happening? You all right? What you been up to or whatever? And he was like, oh my God, we've just been having a mad time. And it's like, wow, what you been doing, you nutters? He's like, Adam's like, Tyab hired a car. I was like, Tyab hired a car, what? And he's like, Adam at this time couldn't drive or whatever. Well, he could drive, but he weren't meant to drive or whatever. And he said, yeah, Tyab's been out on the old motorway with me, and he's been letting me drive up and down the motorway and that. And I was like, oh my God, you lot are crazy kids. Anyway, they was like, yeah, come on, let's go. We still got the car for the rest of the night. Do you two want to come and have a little runabout in the motor? And I was like, well, can we go and like have some food first, like all inclusive and all that, you know what I mean? So we was like, yeah. And then Adam's like, yeah, I needed to go to the steak restaurant. Is that right? And I was like, well, yeah, I fancy a steak myself. So we went to this restaurant inside our hotel. It was one of the a la carte restaurants. It was like a steakhouse. It was great. It was like, I don't know, it was Americanified, but it's in Mexico. So, but anyway, so we get there and we just get a fat plate of food each, and we're sitting there, we're having a munch, drinking a beer or whatever. Oh, actually, it was a Coke probably, because if Type was gonna drive, it would have been a Coke, because I wouldn't have got in no car in Mexico in the night with a drunk driver. That is just not great. Anyway, we're sitting there. Anyway, we're finishing up and we're getting ready to leave the restaurant. And Adam's like, oh, 1 minute, lads, I just got to go and do something. I was like, whenever Adam says something like that, you got to think, God, what is he going to do? Anyway, we've seen him go over to where they pile up steaks to the ceiling for people to take. Like, he's got like a plastic bag and he's just taking steaks galore. He's filling this bag up with steaks, yeah. And I was just like, what is he doing? And Anyway, he's come over and he's got this bag all nicely beside him, and he's like, okay, you ready to go? It's like, all right, sweet. So we went out of the restaurant and then made our way to the front entrance, went out into the, like, it was like a car park in front of the hotel or whatever. So we went over to this car, and it was just like some clapped out old piece of banging rubbish or whatever. And I was just like, oh my God, man, what? This is just dangerous. We shouldn't even be getting in this car. Anyway, we get in it. Everybody's throwing seatbelts on straight away, like, and then I'm like saying to Ty, please, Ty, just drive like nice tonight, yeah. And he's like, yeah, all right. Anyway, so we're driving around, and it's just mad because we're like in the middle of Mexico, like Cancun or whatever, and we drive over to the old town, like, and we're just in traffic, and we're sitting there, and it's just like in the old town of Cancun, it's a bit more Mexican, if you know what I mean, like Cancun itself is pretty much USA. It's very, very Americanized, you know what I mean? But in the old town, it's a bit more proper, you know what I mean? And we're driving around, and it's a bit scary in a way, because it's like, you're just like, oh God, imagine this breaks down, this car, and we're just stuck here, like, and then we start, you know, because people already on the street and look at you as you're driving past, you know what I mean? 4 Londoners, here we go. So anyway, we drove around for ages, actually. We was just looking at all kinds of stuff and just whatever. And then after like, I don't know, an hour and a half or so, we're just like, come, let's go back to the hotel now and have a drink. You know what I mean? And then Adam's like, oh yes, so just before we go back, can we go to that car park? Yeah, Ty. Ty's like, oh yeah, of course, mate. He said, it's on the way back anyway. So we put up at this car park, and I'll tell you what, this car park's empty, and it's probably empty for a reason, because if you leave your car there, it won't be there in the morning. But anyway, we're sitting there, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, there's no cars in this car park. It's just a big piece of open car park, like with all like trees and, well, I don't know what it weren't a jungle around it, you know what I mean? But there was loads of trees and that. It was at least woods around this car park. Anyway, Adam's gone, watch this. And I was like, what is he doing? Gets out of the car with this bag of steaks, yeah. And he just like starts throwing the steaks around him, like, and he's going, come to me. And I was like, what is he doing? Anyway, to my astonishment, yeah, dogs just start coming out of the woods. I'm not even joking. And this ain't just like mongrels. I'll tell you what, there was full blown Labradors that looked in half decent condition, if you do you know what I mean? And I was like, what is going on? Anyway, there's just dogs coming from all over the shop. Tell you what, right? And they're all coming over and they're eating these steaks, and he's feeding more and more of them. Tell you what, there's about 30 dogs in front of him at one point, yeah? So he's like whacking these steaks out. All these dogs are he is like Ace Ventura. I'm not even joking, right? Anyway, after he's like done all the steaks and that, he's looking back at us in the car, because we didn't even jump out of the car. We're just all looking at the windows, got the windows down and that. We're just all hanging out, watching him, laughing, like. So after Adam said his goodbyes to the dogs, he's got back in the motor, and we're just all looking at him, and I was just like, how the fuck did you even know? And he's like, oh well, me and Ty passed here earlier, like, and we could see some of them about, like, and I just thought that maybe we could come feed them. And I was like, all right, sweet, fair enough, if that's what you wanted to do. Okay, ASBO. So so we all jump back in the motor, start driving back to the hotel, and on our travels we pass a McDonald's, and it's mad. We've got fully all-inclusive hotel with like some of the greatest food being served at, and I'm not even joking. But Londoners pass a McDonald's, we're like, boom, in there, Ty. So we went into the McDonald's and out, got it's weird, like, because I remember when I was in America, you ask for a Big Mac and for some reason you think it's going to be like just the biggest thing in the world, but it's the same size as our Big Macs. Even though they give you like a bucket of chips and a bucket of Coke, a Big Mac is the same as our Big Macs. Now, if you want to order a bigger dinner, a bigger burger, sorry, you've got to look at their menu and see what bigger burgers they got, because they have got them, but the Big Mac is the same as our Big Mac. Anyway, the only reason I'm telling you about this little bit of the story is because I was quite surprised that when we was asking for sauces, they had jalapeno sauce in one of them little things, you know what, in McDonald's, what the ketchup, barbecue sauce, sweet and sour, sweet curry, whatever, but they had jalapeno ones. So I made sure I nicked about 10 of them, and I actually brought them back to the UK to show some people. Not that we ate them after bringing them back from another country. I don't know. I just brought them back to show people you could get that. Anyway, that's not even part of this story. Don't worry about all that. I just thought it was well funny to see Adam turn into Ace Ventura and start, you know what I mean, like giving dogs steaks. And these dogs, they weren't even like mongrels. I'll tell you what, there was a few mongrels, but a lot of them were fully blown dogs that you'd pay like $1,000 for or whatever. But yeah, it was proper funny. Anyway, after the old Donald stop, we carried on back to the hotel with Tyab actually giving it a bit of acceleration, and we got out of the car and I said to him, I'm not coming back in the car with you, so tomorrow do not extend your lease, give it back. Yeah, but just that it was a mental old time in old Cancun. Yeah, there's actually quite a few stories from this holiday, but I won't go into them right now. We will talk about them in another episode. Yeah, cheers, nice one. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe and all that sort of jazz. You know what I mean. Whack that bell with a hammer. Let's have it. Nice one. Thank you for listening. Mwah.
Chap tales. Don't you wanna hear some chap tales?